Okay, bonsoir, good evening. This is the Thursday, May 21st, 2020, 6:30 meeting, Zoom meeting with Comité de déchets sur la gestion des déchets solides, Commission de services régionaux de Kent. This is the Thursday, May 21st, 2020 meeting, Zoom meeting of the Solid Waste Management Technical Committee, Kent Regional Service Commission. Welcome everybody. Glad we have a full house this evening. I'd like each of you to just do a roundtable introduction. Welcome also staff, so if you can just identify yourself as staff and members of the Technical Advisory Committee. Okay, maybe we can start with the staff. Eric?
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Eric Demers, I'm the Solid Waste Director for the Solid Waste Services Department of the Kent Regional Service Commission.
Isabel?
Good evening, everyone. This is Isabel. I'm the Project Coordinator in Communication, also associated with the Solid Waste Department for the Kent Regional Service Commission.
Nevi?
Hi, Nebi Nicholas, Aboriginal Project Service Coordinator with the Solid Waste Commission.
Okay, if we can start now with Eugère, and then...
Eugère Cormier, represent the village of Saint-Antoine, represent the village of Saint-Antoine and Saint-Antoine.
Doug? We go to Kevin?
Kevin Arsenault.
And I'm on, can I go now?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I'm Doug McDonald, and I represent Christian Black.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Kevin?
Kevin Arsenault, represent St. Charles, New Brunswick.
Mike?
Leblanc, Bouctouche.
Achille?
Macintosh Hill.
Okay, merci beaucoup tout le monde. Welcome to the meeting. So we've had the agenda beforehand. It's been sent out. It's on the screen. Are there any additions to the agenda for this evening, May 21st, 2020? Eric, did you not have a few additions?
Not for me, no.
Oh, okay. Is there anybody that has a conflict of interest and déclaration de conflit d'intérêt with the agenda items that will be discussed this evening? No declaration of conflict of interest being declared. Could I have approval of the agenda for this evening's meeting, please?
Approved.
Second, Mike.
Achille, proposed.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Mine.
Okay, I have, just to confirm, I have Achille that proposed and Mike that second the motion.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contra minded nay. Motion carried. Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't introduce myself. I'm not on camera. I'm on a speakerphone. I'm on a phone, and I'm Barry Spencer from the region of Saint Louis de Kent. Barry Spencer, je suis président du comité de technique sur la gestion des déchets solides, Commission de services régionaux de Kent, and I'm representing the Saint Louis de Kent. Okay, now we will move to approval of the minutes from the last meeting of January 23rd, 2020. You have had that now for a number of days. Thank you, Eric, for sending that out. And if you, someone could please put a motion for the adoption or approval of the minutes of January 23rd, 2020.
Mr. Chair, I propose.
I'll move to approve them. This is that.
What was that?
Doug, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 23rd meeting.
Okay, Doug, thank you very much. A seconder on that motion?
I'll second the motion. Jacques.
Merci, Ujad. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Contraminded nay. Motion carried. Business arising from the minutes of January 23rd, 2020. So, Eric, is there anything that you'd like to bring up now that won't be in your director's report, or most of the issues or subjects will be in your director's report?
Most of the stuff is in my director's report. I understand that we didn't have a meeting since that time, but my report covers a lot of ground. If at the end of my report there's other questions or comments, I will be happy to answer them.
Okay. Eric and Isabel, will those minutes be posted with the YouTube presentation this evening, or they will be online at the Kent Regional Service Commission website?
It will be on the website, yeah.
Okay. So for the public perspective, you can go to the website, Kent Regional Service Commission, and the minutes of January 23rd have been posted there. Okay, now, item number 7, waste report. Eric, rapport des déchets solides pour la région de Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you have your waste report in front of you. So you have Isabelle, c'est-tu le bon? Isabelle, as-tu lui de avril?
Let me check.
Ou c'est-tu moi qui ai mal envoyé le document?
C'est toi, Eric, qui avait envoyé le mauvais. Ouais.
Peux-tu? OK, je suis vraiment désolé de ça.
Tu avais envoyé celui d'avril séparément, ça se peut-tu?
Non,
Aux municipalités?
mais je peux vous... Oui, je l'avais envoyé séparément aux municipalités.
OK, je dois l'avoir de même dans mes courriels.
OK, sorry about that, committee's member. I sent the wrong waste report. You have January, February, and March, but I have an updated one with April. Isabelle will try to find it in her emails. If not, I can try to find it and send it directly to Isabelle as well.
I think
We'll
I
just
have
wait
it.
we'll just wait a few minutes though. The joy of virtual meetings. Well, this is not because of the virtual meeting, it's because of me.
It happened.
There, this should work. And we have it.
Okay, thank you, Isabelle. Thank you for your technical support. All right, so now, again, sorry about the delay. This you did, I think you did receive this with another email, not the documents I've sent for the meeting. So basically you have January to April. So you have your communities that manages their own collection contracts, and you have the contracts below optimized collection where those contracts are managed by the commission. If you look at the subtotal or residential waste total, we have an increase of 165 tons, almost 8%, 7.45% from January to April. And for commercial waste, so ICI, we have an increase of 81 tons. So just under 9%, so at 8.94%. I want to point out that the increase that we saw in residential waste is mainly, if you look like for your April, your year to date, you see there's a kind of a difference of a few like 11 tons for Bouctouche, 13 tons for Saint Antoine. Same thing for the other contracts that the commission manages. It looks like increases all over the board. One of the main reasons because of that, we're seeing that increase is basically because of the confinement regarding the coronavirus. So we had most of the population at home in March and also part of April. So meaning that the public is having breakfast at home, lunch at home, dinner at home. One of the message from the province was also to do some cleanups around the house, in the house. So it did have a small impact on the increase that we're seeing. Something that is a bit maybe surprising on a positive side is the ICI sector. So we have a small increase of 81 ton, like I said earlier. So meaning that even though the economy was kind of shut down for almost 2 months, we still saw some activities in that sector because we did have an increase in production of waste. Some of that waste could also be organic waste, food waste, especially from restaurants or grocery store where they had to discard of food because they were closing down and could not get rid of their food via serving meals or having something on the menu for example, like a restaurant. But for me, I see that as a positive thing, saying that the ICI sector was still in functioning in Kent County. We could have easily seen a big decrease of hundreds of tons, but that's not the case. So from my point of view, I kind of see this as a positive aspect in Kent County. Other than that, in regards to construction and demolition waste, there's not much change there. We don't have a lot of, there's 0 tons that was brought in Moncton from January to April. And as you know, the eco depots were, we had one that was canceled because of a snowstorm, and afterwards everything was shut down because of COVID-19. Is there any questions or comments in regards to the waste report? Okay, no, maybe just for nearby, if you look at, and this was an email that I did send to both First Nation administration officers. If you look at March for Indian Island and Elsipogtog, for March and April, there's a big jump and there's a decrease for LC. We had a similar situation last year. I understand that waste collection for Indian Island is being done by Elsipogtog as well. So an email was sent out to both DJ, band manager for LC, and Peter Levi, band manager for Indian Island, to inform them of that situation, because last year we had similar issues across the year, and at the end of the year when we do the tonnage adjustment, Indian Island was hit hard because they had a really big increase in tonnage. So Nibai, I think you were attached on those emails that I mentioned, so they are aware of the situation. And I asked them if they have questions or comments to give me a call.
Well, I think what's going on there is the same thing that happened last year. Is we just had our bulky waste down here on the island, and then we've also constructed 4 new homes.
Okay.
So I think a lot of that will end up being the industrial waste tonnage. Remember last year they had a problem. They were listing it under the wrong.
Yes.
Yep. So I think that's
Okay.
probably what's going to be the explanation again this time.
Okay, well, it's just a point of information to the members and also the email I've sent to both DJ and Peter, just to make sure that they are aware that we might see some issues like last year. But
Yeah, definitely. And I'll bring it up again with them when I talk to them again.
exactly. Thank you very much, Nibai, for that point. So, Mr. Chair, this is the waste report. Again, I don't know if there's some comments or questions on the waste report for April or January to April to 2020.
Okay, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Nibai. No comments, questions? Okay, we'll move on now to item number 8, Director of the Department of Solid Waste report. Eric, if you can start off with Eco Deposit Depot, and I'll let you go down through your items, and possibly people can put their speaker on mute. Everything seems to be going fine, but if you do happen to rustle paper, then it'll pick it up. Okay, Eric, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Okay, again, thank you, Mr. Chair. Donc, Monsieur le Président, au niveau des éco-dépôts, comme vous le savez, on a été obligé de les arrêter dû au coronavirus. Il y a même lui du mois de février qu'on a annulé à cause d'une tempête. Comme vous pouvez voir dans mon rapport, j'ai écrit Before COVID and During COVID. Donc, juste pour vous donner un petit peu un aperçu du déroulement là, des derniers mois entre le mois de mars et le mois de mai. So basically, right now, in the during COVID section of my report, so as you're aware, all of the eco depots were canceled until further notice, but we are now working in partnership with Eco360 in order to have 4 to 5 eco depots in the Kent County region. End of summer, around August. I don't want to put out dates yet because we're still working on some aspect of the eco depots event. So basically, hopefully, we'll be able to have at least 4. We're aiming for 5. That's where we're negotiating with Eco360 on that aspect. And I'm sure that once everything is approved, we'll do promotion on radio, Facebook, social media, even some mail outs, because as you'll see later on in my report, we did receive funding from ETF for the eco depots. We know that it was a service that was well received by the population last year, and hopefully we'll be able again this year to offer a minimum of 4 locations for the eco depots. Any questions, comments on the eco depots? Okay, I'll continue. Next point is the feasibility study, the RFP. So again, so you have the before COVID, during COVID. So here, I did put up some arguments in the document where I'm looking to maybe postpone the feasibility study until 2021. There's a lot going on right now, including COVID-19. So as explained in my report, we have a potential PPP program that could be implemented in New Brunswick in the coming, would say maybe 18 months, 18 to 20 months maybe. Again, all depending on the situation with COVID-19. That PPP program, that's plastic, paper, and printed packaging. It's an EPR program, a little bit like the paint program, tire program, but it's a very larger program. For example, in your recycling bag, in your blue bag, about 60% of your content could be considered PPP. So moving forward with the feasibility study, not knowing where the province stands with the PPP, it might have a really big impact on the possible recommendation from the feasibility study. The other argument is that the province is also doing a solid waste services assessment or effectiveness of solid waste services in relation to Commission's budget. This is still ongoing with Dillon Consulting Company. So we're yet to have a report. Initially, the report was to be submitted in May, but again, COVID-19 happened and it's still ongoing or on hold. And the other project going on across the province is the provincial waste audit. I don't think it would have a major impact on the recommendation of the study. I would say minor impact, but again, it's a mix of all those studies that could potentially have the feasibility study going into another direction. And last point of argument to postpone the feasibility to 2021 is that most of the study was focused on public consultation. I don't think that virtual consultation has the same impact as a public meeting, a real public meeting. And right now, we're not sure how public meetings will be working. I understand that there's some restriction that will be eased tomorrow for the COVID-19, but I don't think we'll be able to have meeting with 30 and 40 people at the same time, not applying the 6 feet or 2 meter social distancing. So a big portion of the study was focusing on public consultation. So we did identify like consultation with municipalities, First Nation, the board of the commission, members of the committee, also the ICI sector, plus public meetings with the public in general. And last point is changing the objective and goals of the study along the way, according with the different studies going on right now, could have an impact on the cost of the study, because if we do change the objective, the hired consulting company could say, well, this was not the initial RFP, and ask for more money. So those are the arguments I'm putting forward to the committee in order to postpone the feasibility study to 2021. And maybe just mentioning this is that doing so budget-wise will be in better posture in 2021 to cover full cost of the feasibility study, because 2019 was a good year for the solid waste department. Will be in the surplus side of the budget. We'll have more information during the EGM in the next few weeks with the board. So, Mr. Chair, this is my presentation or my arguments. I don't know if you want to open the floor for discussion, comments, and possibly a proposal to postpone the feasibility study.
Yeah, just a clarification, Eric. The feasibility study is being directed by the ad hoc committee, right? So, is this just information, or are we recommending to the ad hoc committee who will recommend to the Regional Service Commission?
Yes, that's the way, Mr. Chair, that's the way I saw how to move forward with this. And I did discuss this with Paul. And again, it's just a recommendation from the committee to the ad hoc committee. And the ad hoc committee will explain the reason, the reason behind why we're postponing the study.
Okay, thanks for the
Okay.
clarification. So, are there any questions for Eric?
Just,
Mr.
Mr. President, was just one comment. I agree with what, Eric, yes? I
Yeah, who
agree with
speaks?
what,
Yeah, so
Sorry.
it's Ujar?
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
yes, I agree with what Eric is suggesting, that we, well, because of the virus, of course, I mean, public meeting, you're not gonna have any in the fall. And I think you need some input from the public in public meetings in order to finalize this important matter. And recommending the postponement that the study be put to 2021, I think is probably a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ujar. Maybe at the end of this, you can put forward the motion. Any other comments or questions to Eric?
If we're online for
Okay.
a motion, I'll put the motion on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll propose that the PPT be postponed to 2021.
RFP.
Mike will second that.
Just
Okay,
clarification, Ujar, it's
Yeah.
the RFP study.
Okay, yeah, just add that in there. Okay, that's fine.
Ujar
agree.
and second by Mike, is that it?
Yep.
Okay,
so, so the motion is a feasibility study, RFP, étude de feasibilité, DDP, will be postponed until 2021. All those in favor by signify by saying aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, contraminded nay. Motion carried. And this is a recommendation to the ad hoc committee, just a comment.
yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Eric, thank you very much. ETF,
Yes.
and marine debris.
Yeah, all right. So good news. We were approved. Our funding proposal was approved by ETF for a total of $35,000 to promote the eco depots and also trying to pay a portion of the cost. So that's really good news. That's why earlier I said that as soon as we have the okay from Eco360 on the dates and location that we're working on right now, we'll be able to spread out the word, even do mail outs, and that will be covered by ETF. Also mentioning that because of the province fiscal year, we'll be able to promote the eco depots until March 31st of next year. So meaning that if we do have some next year, like in January to March, we'll be able to promote and pay cost for those months as well. So it's really good news. The other aspect of the ETF, it's not a project from us, it's a project from the Conservation Council in Brunswick. So they got their funding proposal accepted as well from ETF and other funding organization for the development of a regional committee to look at management of marine debris. So when I'm talking about marine debris, it's lobster trap, oyster cages, netting, buoys, rope, stuff like that. There's some ongoing projects similar in the Fundy area, but also across across the different provinces with shores and fishing industries. So I think it's a really good project for us, especially in Kent County, where we have hundreds of kilometers of shoreline and a large fishing industry, fishing communities. So hopefully that we'll see some benefits out of this project. Basically, the end goal would be to have like a drop-off bin or drop-off area on fishing wharfs where the fishermen and maybe public could bring buoys, nets, and ropes in order to either recycle them, but at least divert them from the landfill. Right now, this is a really hot topic across the country. DFO is all hands on these kind of project. So I think it's going to be a good thing for the commission and myself to be sitting on that committee. Mr. Chair, any questions for the ETF funding and also the marine debris project?
Committee members, any questions, comments?
Just one. Would this include cleaning along the beaches?
It could, but it's mostly going to focus on fishing gear. But that aspect is like on the public side of the project. For example, if somebody walks along the shore or has a property along the shore, and each year you have fishing gear that wash out, and they do want to clean up the beach, they might, it could be a possibility that they would have access to that depot, but it's not clear yet. I mean, we're just at the creation of the committee right now, but that point was already discussed at a few meetings, Jar, and it's a really good point to be made.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thanks, Eric, for your leadership on that, and the staff, Isabel and Nibai, for team participation. Good partnership project with the Conservation Council. So, job well done. Thank you. Next item, complaint system.
All right. Donc, Monsieur le Président, malheureusement, le système de plainte qu'on avait développé ou en développement avec Arago, l'entente a été annulée. On a eu des défis, des petits problèmes, mais ça s'est quand même fini sur une bonne note. Donc, on est un peu nouveau, si vous voulez, à la case départ, mais on a quand même développé un genre de système où que c'est maintenant les compagnies qui font les suivis avec les résidents. So that being said, Mr. Chair, now when we get a call, a complaint for miscollection or something related to waste collection, we take the information, civic number, the issue, name, phone number, and we do ask the resident to, if it's okay for us to share their contact information with Faro or McAction in order for them to call the client and find a common solution. So doing so really helps us avoiding back and forth with the client, with Faro, with the client, with Faro or McAction. And it works really well. Isabelle developed a kind of questions to ask to the client when he calls with a complaint, and it goes very well. Basically, we're doing half of the work that we were doing in the past. So it's being more productive on our side. So we're more efficient doing our work instead of doing back and forth with a client and the hauling company. So that's a plus on that side. But again, we're still looking at other options, other computerized complaint system that could work for us in the future.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Questions, comments?
Just one comment, Eric. I think it's a good thing what we're doing there. I mean, the people are taking their responsibility to call themselves. But sometimes when you call companies like that, I'm not saying that they don't answer the phone, but it might be hard for some people to contact Faro or to contact McAction, which is where it used to be easier for you or Isabel to do it. I don't know. Do you find that out? Do somebody call you back and say, well, we can't get in touch with them?
No, just a clarification, Eugene.
Yes.
It's Faro. Like, we take the information. So for example, if somebody calls me and miss pickup at 1485 in St. Marie, Route 515. So I take his information, contact number and all that, and we send an email to Faro, and they're responsible to contact the resident. So we're not asking the resident to call Faro. Faro will be calling the resident.
Okay.
Yes.
Cut out the
Yeah,
middle.
clarify.
Yeah,
Clarify for me.
it's
Thank you.
great. It's great because there's less than people involved, but you can concentrate on doing something else. Which I think is great. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item is membership on this committee. Membre du comité.
All right, so we have some overdue terms. I'm sorry about that. So we have Barry Spencer, Achille Bastarache, and Mike Leblanc. So right now, the way the appointment process for the commission's committees is still it's ongoing. We're not doing appointments. The appointment will be done, or nomination will be done as soon as we're able to have real public meetings. So for those 3 members, I don't know if you're still okay to serve an extra few months on the committee. I mean, we're not talking about a lot of meetings, but
I'm okay.
it would be greatly appreciated if you would stay on the committee for again a few months.
Yeah, so for the record, so we'll start with Mike. You're willing to keep going for another couple of months?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Thank you very much. Achille?
Yes, well, as probably everybody knows, I've changed address since the last meeting. I'm now at Bouctouche, so I'm right on Main Drag. So I'm not at my regular residence and McIntosh Hill. So if you guys decide to keep me on for a few months, it would be my pleasure. So it's up to you. I don't know really. I'm going to stand there.
Jean, non, sorry, non, Jean, Achille, je vais vérifier avec Paul. Je pense pas que ça te dérange vraiment, là. Parce que je veux dire, on a des gens de partout, là. T'sais, on aurait pu avoir des gens, on aurait pu avoir 3 personnes de la région de Saint-Louis-Saint-Charles qui auraient été nominées. OK, ça fait. Je vais en parler avec Paul, mais d'après moi, il n'y a pas de problème de ce côté-là que tu resterais, même si tu es à Bouctouche, là. Ça fait que.
Je vais discuter de ça avant et Eric m'excusera, j'ai mis ça en oubli. Je savais que tu savais.
Oui, non, ben.
Les autres membres savaient. Pour moi, c'est important que ça soit au clair, là.
Ouais.
Ça fait plus que plaisir de servir sur la board, moi, comme ça.
Puis, again, this is my fault, là. I didn't check the terms, the members' terms, là, in the last few months, and some of them are overdue than more than half a year or even a year. So it's my bad, là.
It's not a normal situation anyway. I'm on another board, it's the same thing. Our terms were due when they asked us, they made a demand to the government, and we're being approved for another year. So
okay.
I think everybody's in the same boat as far as.
No, well, everybody, yeah, the municipalities are in the same
Mike and the
situation.
municipalities, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you guys are asked to go be on board another year. And then,
yes.
More, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And for the record, I'm willing to stay on until time permits us to reelect the other members. Okay, thank you very much,
Okay.
Mike, Achille, and Barry. Okay, next item, PPP.
PPP, Mr. Chair, is just for your information, the
Barry, you wanna just
documents.
qualify
Yeah,
PPP?
I won't go through the document. It's just for your information.
No, just
Um,
qualified PPP,
the
package,
PPP. Yeah. Okay. Well, the PPP is
it's right there on,
so PPP is an EPR program, so Extended Producer Responsibility Program. So it's packaging and printed paper. So it's similar to what we already have in place for oil, tires, electronic waste. But like I said earlier, it's at a larger scale, and it might have major impact on the way waste is managed in New Brunswick. So we did present our arguments, how it should be managed and how it should be implemented. Now the province is working on creating legislation or a draft to have a legislation presented on PPPs. So, like I said earlier, I won't go all through the 21 pages and the other documents where it was mostly comments and questions from a provincial meeting. I think Nibai, I think you did participate to that December 10th meeting, huh?
Yep.
So I don't know if you want to maybe add a little something on that meeting.
Well, other than there was no definite decision on whether or not they were going to go ahead with it the way they were planning in here. And now with COVID, I haven't heard anything from them. I've been asked to be kept apprised, and I have not received anything from them since that meeting.
So
I know they did ask for a meeting with chief and council, and I had sent off the information, but it was just a matter of when COVID broke out.
Mhm.
That was it. And that we haven't heard anything back.
No, and same thing on my side. We didn't hear anything since January or February. So again, because of COVID, everything probably was put on hold. But again, this is for your information. If members have any questions or comments or clarification on the program itself, you can give me a call or send me an email.
okay, thank you, Eric and Levi. Just one question in regard to clarification. So after this this workshop and the PPP document that was already prepared, is this workshop and the comments going to be put into a second document that will become the document from which policy will be developed or recommendations will be developed, or what?
Mr. Chair, your guess is good as mine. I'm not sure. They are in consultation with some solid waste manager. I know there was a kind of a solid waste manager committee that was created to look at PPP. So I think we're talking about Eco360, Fredericton, Saint John, Péninsule Acadienne, and Chaleur. So I think it's them, no? So some communication was done with them, but other than that, we didn't receive any other official document or modified documents in the way the province sees the implementation of a PPP program.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, my only other comment on that is the thing I found was missing was any reference at all to the redemption centers. But I'm going to put a couple of notes and thoughts in relation to that, and maybe send them off to you, but I didn't see redemption centers in there at all as part of the consultation or guidance. Anyway, okay then, thanks very much. Next project or next, school pilot project, Eric.
Okay, so this is kind of funny and not funny at the same time. So basically, we were finally able to find a solution to implement the three-stream program in the 3 schools that we did had identify in the region, so Grandier, Cocagne, and Notre-Dame. So the pilot project started March 9, and the school closed on March 16. So we had 1 week, not even, of data. So anyway, it was kind of
Eric, 1 week, is that enough for a good study and a big report? Just kidding.
no. Listen, I mean, stuff happens. We were just not lucky to start the week before the school were closed. But we still did some work with the school district, looking at the tender that they have in place, or the contract that they had in place for waste collection. So we did some review of the tender, comments review, and maybe things to be changed or modified in the tender in order to have a fully implemented 3-stream system maybe next year. But again, I'm not sure. We're already talking about a possible virtual school year in September. So I'm not sure that the school district is all hand on decks for solid waste in the school. I might be wrong. But we did still a bit of work on the tender. And also there's all kinds of aspects that I pointed out for the implementation. When we worked with the 3 schools, it was a lot of work for us, meeting with the school principal, the janitors, the employees of the cafeteria, the school presentation, purchasing of bags, looking at the layout of each school, because each school is different in its own way. It doesn't mean that you'll need X number of containers in one school. It doesn't mean that you'll need the same containers in another school. So at least we did point it out, those not necessarily issues, but it did ask a lot from us, and that was just with 3 schools. So imagine doing a full-blown implementation in all of the schools in Kent County, Dieppe, Moncton for the French, the Francophone Sud, District Scolaire Francophone Sud. It could be a lot of work, but we'll see in the coming weeks. I'm looking to have a virtual meeting with other partners that we had with this pilot project, and try to see what we could do in the next few months.
Okay, any questions for Eric? Comments? Yeah, I think it'll give us a little more time to refine that particular project. It may be advantageous in the sense, one benefit of the COVID-19 issue is that it maybe gives us a little time to refine that project. Okay, thanks very much, Eric. Next subject, K4 contract.
All right, so K4 contract, just a quick overview of the first few months of activity of K4 contract that is now being done by McAction Enterprise. It goes well. Just a few hiccups here and there, but nothing major. They were just they finished their bulky waste collection this week. It went really well. We got maybe a handful of calls. The owner told me that they left maybe not more, roughly around maybe 30 stickers, reject stickers, trailers, tires, black bags mostly. But other than that, it's going well, and I'm glad because it's a local contractor from Sainte Marie, so it's a good thing.
It's a good price too.
Yeah, well,
a good price.
he was the lowest bidder, and at first we weren't sure regarding his equipment, but everything came into order as soon as the contract was signed.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. We will move on to residential waste collection policy.
All right,
Politique.
so yeah, donc Monsieur le Président, j'ai fait quelques modifications à la politique que Isabelle présente là. Donc vous allez voir the modification or the changes proposed in yellow. Okay, so we have the first one there. So this is a new section that I added. Just to add that people can use a container or a permanent container if you want, and that the container must be visible from the road and easily accessible and safe for the waste collector. Isabelle, can you scroll down? Is there any question maybe for that modification or?
Those are wood containers, a lot.
Yeah.
Build a wood container, and that's what you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or okay.
Okay, here is another one I've added. So the KRC will refuse through the waste collector to collect bags in a container that is not visible from the road, not easy to access, or not safe for the waste collectors. We had multiple issues in the last, would say last few months where bins being used, again, this is a permanent bins, where the bins are either in almost destroyed. So you have nails where the hauler might be struck by a nail. The door cannot be left open, so he needs to always keep the lid open. And also, again, the distance from the road, or if it's not easily accessible. This is mostly in the winter time, in order to have it accessed by the waste collector, trying to have it clean of snow and ice. I know that Isabelle did some promotion with the newsletter and also on social media during the winter time to have their bin clean of snow and ice and easily accessible for the waste collector. Any question, comments on that?
So just a question, Eric. So the next step is that is this our final review of this, and then we recommend to the Regional Service Commission?
If you want, but if you want to have a bit more time to review the document, we can recommend or have a motion at a later meeting. Doesn't matter to me.
Oh, no, but is there any hurry on this, or that we try to get this in place by the fall?
Not necessarily. I mean, we're already applying maybe some of the modification as we speak. Just to to have it confirmed will help us maybe saying that it's in the policy if we have any issues with residents with the different modification or aspect that I've added to the policy.
Okay, any comments, questions? Okay, what I suggest is that we take another look at this, and that at the next meeting that we will make a recommendation to the Regional Service Commission, so that we can get that for their fall meeting and then maybe implement it, full implementation in 2021. Sound
Okay.
good?
Mhm.
Okay,
Good with me.
good.
All right, so we'll go just to the next item, bulky waste collection.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or do you want to go? Do you want to review the modification? No.
Members of the committee?
We'll have time to read it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have time to read it before the next meeting for sure.
Okay.
If
All
we have
right.
any comments, we could send it to you as well.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Next subject, bulky waste collection.
So bulky waste collection was proceeded as planned. At first, in March, we weren't sure how things were going to turn out with COVID-19. So we tackled bulky waste in I would say mid-March, just to make sure that everything was in order for Faro and McAction to move forward with the bulky waste collection. One of the big question was, is bulky waste collection an essential service? So basically, from the state of emergency from the province, waste collection was considered an essential service, and that was including bulky waste collection. So we went forward with the collection. It did created a bit of changes to the newsletter, and other things also were changed in the newsletter because of the COVID-19 situation. But we started last week, 2 weeks ago with McAction. Faro started this week, and it's going very, very, very well. Just for example, today, zero call for bulky waste collection. Yesterday, maybe 5 or 6, Isabelle, calls for bulky waste collection.
Pretty much, not more than that.
Yeah, so we're just getting a handful of calls for bulky waste collection. So for me, it's very positive. We're not done yet. I mean, we still have the Grand Zig area, the Kokang area. Those are the big areas in the region. But up until now, Faro is doing a wonderful job. They're on time. Metal is being collected the day after, or maybe just 2 days after the initial date for bulky waste collection. So I think that the message and the promotion that was done over the last few years in regards to regulation with bulky waste collection is starting to be applied by a majority of the population. We always gonna have some little issues here and there, but other than that, it's really going well.
Good. Observation?
That's it, Mr. Chair. This is my report. I don't know if there's comments, questions on bulky waste, but other aspect of my report.
Back to members. Any questions, comments for Eric? Okay,
Good
there being none, we'll now move.
Good report.
Correct.
Good. Thank you. So we don't need a motion on that?
No.
Okay, so next item, number 9, Project Coordinator's Report, Commission's newsletter. Eric or Isabel, go ahead.
That's my part now. All right, so you've probably received it by mail already. You can see on your screen the Let's Talk Kent Volume 6 newsletter. It was sent with major delays. We were very lucky because at first we sent it to print before everything that went down with the COVID-19, with dates for eco depots. We didn't know if the bulky waste would go on, and everything was in their promo Kent as well, the job and business fair. So we were very lucky when I contacted the printer company, the Falstaff Media that we're working with. They were able to stop the printing process, and we were able to make modification to have it printed in time to be sent to every household before bulky waste collection. So we added this extra page concerning how COVID-19 affects our services, but the rest, basically, we just keep what was certain and remove anything that we didn't know if we would move forward with or not. Regarding solid waste, we have the usual bulky waste regulations with a little bit of additional information for the public after a meeting with Farrow Miller in the past and talking with McAction. So those were the items that they were encountering the most and they had difficulties dealing with, obviously. So we advertised that they were not accepted and where the people could bring them. We had the full schedule and we talked about backyard composting. The program is still going on right now. We do not offer them yet. We're just waiting for confirmation that we can use, because the commission is moving forward with payment with credit cards. Once that option is available to the public, we'll start reselling those items. And Eric, you can just confirm the date, maybe because we made an order for more composters because we were running low. So I think they're coming next week.
Yes, the shipment was done, and we should receive an order for the Earth machine. So that's the black one, either Monday or Tuesday. So once the shipment is received, we'll start looking at how we can start selling them to the public with all the different COVID-19 restrictions.
They will sell. They will have a scent of disinfectant. I can already tell. But for now, what we're doing is we're taking names and phone numbers and contact information. And when I was at the office yesterday, I think the list was at 10 or 12 names already. So people are still eager to buy the items. And I guess the newsletter did help in promoting the program as well. Is there any questions or comment on the newsletter?
Yeah, I just comment on the composters. Look, I think now that a lot of people are getting into gardening because of the COVID-19 challenges, that you in fact may increase the demand for those, and so that's very good. Okay then, any other comments, questions for Isabel?
Good report.
Okay then. Yep, thank you very much. Recollect update. Mise à jour, recollect.
Désolé, Eugère, j'ai encore 3 autres points dans mon rapport. So the recollect update, just before the office closed, I was able to do a major update in our database for recollect. So the Waste Wizard tool in our mobile app, Kent Services, we had issues with it because every time you create a new item, it automatically creates the same item in the other language. So if you create an item in French, it will create it in English. And if you create it in English, it will create it in French automatically. But the translation did not always work. So when people would type, I don't know, plastic bottles, they may have had 2 different options, one with the right information and one with absolutely nothing. So I had to double check everything. I deleted past over 400 items that were duplicated without information. So that took 2 days of my work at the office before everything went down. Since I'm at home, now, and we have less calls and everything, I was able to keep working on that and making sure that now that there is no more duplication like that, that there's only a sole item for everything, just making sure that sometimes, even though we write the translation, some mistakes were made, or sometimes the system made it themselves, they auto-translated, and the translation in French makes no sense. So I still have to go through. I'm a little more than halfway through the database to correct everything, double check, add pictures to make it more user-friendly for our population. So that's for the Recollect. And also quickly, we had a meeting with Grant Smith, which is our dedicated staff from Recollect, which oversees our operation with the app. And he showed us some impressive data that maybe for next meeting we'll be able to present. I think we just received the presentation he made to us, but basically they compared us to other community, other region that have less than 20,000 in population, and made like a they calculated what was the what is the term research moyenne,
Benchmark.
yeah, so they created a benchmark from all those this data, and we're so way over it. So it's really impressive. We have a lot of people using the calendar, visiting the app, searching items. So we're approximately at 20% of the population that search for their address. It's a really good tool, and it's really nice to see that it's working and the population is using it appropriately.
Just maybe to add, Isabelle, we'll try maybe to prepare something with the pie chart and graphs and all that, because it's really impressive. I was really surprised with the numbers that was presented from Recollect. So I think for us, it's again good news to share with the committee, but again, eventually maybe even sharing it with the population as well.
Share with the board as well.
With the board as well. That's a good point, João.
Okay. Thank you very much, Isabelle. Now I guess we move to a la carte presentations.
Yeah, so that was a project that we discussed last year, Eric and I, how to be more present in school, more present in communities. How can we let people know that we are available to offer workshops or presentations on many different subjects? And
that was before COVID.
definitely before COVID, last year in 2019. So I suggested that just for the school at least, and then maybe for public, like, I don't know, Golden Age Club or any other organization, public organization, we could offer a menu basically of what the different presentation we can offer, what would be the length of it, and just to let people know that if they invite us, it's free. We're there for that, and we want to have more presence in school as well, especially after if the pilot project would have lasted longer, we could have seen that becoming the norm in school to have the 3-stream programs, and we would be needed to visit every school. Lots of school after the Green Fair told us that they didn't know they could visit the landfill and that we would pay for transportation. So having a sort of menu that we can send to principals at school and to different community group, that way they know what we offer and we can work like that. So you just have to book. And the good news is, while meeting with Recollect, they showed us that there's a way that we can add this sort of menu on our app. So and there would be an added widget on the website. So if someone calls or if someone is online and wants to have more information on different presentation, they could just go onto that section and book an appointment with us to have a meeting, or well, while suggesting dates, or even just contact us to have more information on something. So it would be on the web, it would be user-friendly. From what we've seen, the Pictou region in Nova Scotia has it running right now, and it was mind-blowing when I saw that, because that's exactly what we wanted. And for us, it would be easier as well if someone calls that wants to have a presentation, then, and if myself or Eric is not there, Francine can fill in the form for the client, and we'll receive the notification and work with our schedule and the client to be able to offer the presentation. So that's something to look forward for 2021, offering presentation, but the menu, the a la carte presentation menu should be ready by the end of 2020.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabel. Questions for Isabel? Okay, we'll move now to development of the standard letters.
Yeah, really quickly, this one, we realized that there were some common issues that the haulers were facing. So, and the problem is not when they face an issue and then the people call us, it's when they don't call us and it's repeating itself. How can we contact that person, and how much time does it take us to create an official letter, send the information, and have everything covered that way? So to make our work more efficient, I wrote down, and Eric made some modification, 3 standard letters. So one that has to do with people that's not necessarily following the 3-stream program, either by having all mixed bags in the bins that is becoming hygiene issue, or using black bags and it's becoming a mess and stuff like that. So we have this standard letter that's ready to just be filled with a couple of specific points, and we can send it right away. There's another one for an unsafe container, such as Eric explained earlier, that permanent bin which has nails sticking out or that's too far from the road. We have Faro send us some information about a certain case that were repeating themselves, and they were leaving stickers after stickers and received no calls. So we could support them by sending an official letter that way. And the last letter is for roads that cannot be serviced, either private or public roads. If there is issue with safety when going down the road, be it ice, mud, something like that. If it's a 1-week issue, it's fine. It's just when it comes to months or weeks, we need to address the situation with the public and be more proactive with it. So we develop another letter just for that.
Okay, questions for Isabel?
Isabel, am I online now to say good work? Thank you very much.
I really wish
You're
you you're definitely allowed to say it.
Good, thank you very much, Eugene. Just one question for Eric or Isabel. In the newsletter, and I guess maybe to develop these standard letters, I guess in the newsletter there was a picture of the 3 enforcement officers that will be involved with the Kent Regional Service Commission. Will they have any dealings with you, Eric, in regards to enforcing the policy or issues associated with management?
Not yet. Right now, they're focusing mainly on bylaw enforcement for buildings, building permits, municipal bylaw in place. So they're mainly focusing on that right now. Maybe eventually they might enforce the policy. It could be after the feasibility study is done as well, if a recommendation is saying that we need physical or on-road enforcement, because as you know, it's myself and Isabel at the office, so we're just two employees, so we can't be on the road all day doing enforcement.
Yeah, we tried doing that when Nicholas was working with us, our student, and it took us a full week just for the bulky waste.
Yeah, so it's really time consuming in order to enforce the regulation from the policy, but we'll see what the future brings us. And as I said, it might be a recommendation eventually that we see coming out of the feasibility study.
And Eric, if I may, we also have the issue that our regulation is just that, a regulation, a policy. It's not the law. So municipal bylaws and the municipal act for LSDs, those are laws. So what we have in place, we could recommend to the municipalities to adopt it as a bylaw, our regulation, but we don't have that power with the LSDs, and then we cannot enforce something in the municipality that we do not enforce in LSDs. That wouldn't be fair. So it's complicated.
No, and that was pointed out to multiple times to the province. And again, our policy that was developed was based on existing bylaws, municipal bylaws, the provincial regulation. So we're not infringing on the population with the residential waste collection policy.
Okay,
For example,
That's good.
okay.
I think we got enough information on that, so sorry to cut you off. Okay then, now, Nevi, First Nations Coordinator report.
Yes. Happening lately, I did have a teleconference with the political members from Indian Island, and then in Big Cove, and we basically agreed on all the points to my project. The only problem with Big Cove is we haven't got the BCR, which is Band Council Resolution, to verify my position. So I cannot apply for federal funding under Big Cove's name without that. Although Indian Island did hand me their Band Council Resolution, and I'm moving forward with the project with them for them right now. I have the request in with DJ and Elsa Bukdug, and he's supposed to be taking care of it to get me that letter of recommendation. I've made a few modifications to the proposed in-home diversion center project, in that we are now applying for funding for the waste audits through a company that had done it before called Charmond. And then we are also developing with them a project where they will train local staff to do the waste audits on for a seasonal basis, and that way that particular expenditure won't be a factor beyond this anymore. Other than that, I have all the proposal for that particular project in with ISK in Amherst, and they're just waiting for all the departments to come back in and get rolling again. We've decided as well as to do a physical tally of the infrastructure in Elsa Bukdug, and on the way that they wanted to go by the adoption of the plan last Christmas there in Halifax. So we're just going to do a physical assessment of the infrastructure with the engineer, John Sims, out of EXP, and the appropriate band members, political members that are going to be a part of this. And we were going to adjust the project to include that infrastructure. This has caused a kind of a debate on whether or not we should try to get the in-home service project, recycling project going by the end of the summer, but with the infrastructure being delayed because of COVID, where the discussion is now is should we do it this fall and then have all this equipment at their house, like in the participant's house over the winter, not being used, or do we wait till next spring and then be able to run the project, wait a month, and then start the full project of tree bag system collection? So that'll be a debate for later down the road with us.
Okay, any questions for Nevi? Yeah, really good work, Nevi. Glad that you're part of the Kent Solid Waste team, and you've been, the work that you've been reports that have been presented to this committee are really going on the right path. So I appreciate your work, and also that of Isabel, and certainly that of Eric. But good work, Levi.
Thank you very much.
Any questions for Levi? Okay, then, the next item. Any other items that, Eric, and I didn't mean to cut you, well, I did mean to cut you off, but if there's anything else you wanted to add when I cut you off there, please go ahead.
No, it's okay. You know me. I like to talk, so it's good that you cut me off.
So does anybody else have any other items? Okay then, thank you very much for your participation, and the staff, again, as I indicated, good work. And we shall see you all again, either on Zoom or face-to-face around the table. Now, the next item, I guess, is next meeting, closure of the meeting, but the next meeting, Eric?
We'll look into it. We'll wait tomorrow and see what restriction will be eased. Like you said, Mr. Chair, there's maybe a possibility that we'll have a face-to-face meeting. We're not sure. Anyway, we'll see, but we're looking maybe sometime mid-June, late June, for a last meeting before summer. But I'll let you know. I'll send out a doodle or just dates, and making sure it's not in conflict with the board of the commission.
Okay then. Doug, are you still there?
Still here. I'm
Okay, good.
here.
Yeah, just want to check. We got a full deck, all hands on deck. Okay then, so have a good spring. I do hope your seeds all sprout. And thank you, Eric, for putting together this Zoom meeting. And we shall close the meeting. If someone could move to close the meeting, please.
I'll move,
Motion.
Mr. President. Mike?
Good. Second. No. Well, we've covered all the items, so we don't need a seconder. Okay, then.
That's
Have
right.
a pleasant evening. Thanks very much.
All right. Wash your
Good night,
hands,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Have a
Okay,
nice
thank you.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Wash your
Bye.
hands.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Levi.
yeah,
Thank you,
get
Isabel.
yourself a cat, will you?
Yeah, everybody, yeah.
Go Habs, go.
Go,
Oh,
have,
yeah,
go,
yeah.
yeah.
Bleh.